Hi friends, my name is Vishnu. Welcome to the fundamentals of embedded operating system. Here we discuss the content that we cover in this video. First, what is embedded system? Then we go to the architecture and characteristic of embedded system. And there are two types of embedded operating system which are available in the market. First one, adapting an existing commercial operating system, which is a general operating system. And second one is a purpose-built embedded operating system, which is a dedicating operating system for a specific purpose. Then we will cover the embedded Linux. What is it? What are the uses of it? And why it is so popular in market? Then we understand the kernel, the role of the kernel in embedded operating system. Then compilation, file system, and there are many types of file system which are available in the embedded Linux. Then we talk about the advantages of it and why it is popular in the market. Then we will discuss the Android, which is the most popular operating system for mobile phones. We discuss the features and the names and the version of it. After that, TinyOS, the most popular wireless sensor network topology. In TinyOS, we discuss TinyOS goals, components, schedulers, resource interface. In this way, we will understand the completely about TinyOS. Now, we will discuss what is embedded system. It is refers to an use of an electronics and software or combination of electronics and software within a product that is designed to perform a dedicated function or operation. In many cases, embedded system is just a part of a large system. Example, in a car, if you take ABS would be an example of it. Since there are 40 to 50 embedded systems are present in a car, which collectively makes the operational of the car. So embedded system is a small unit or part of a huge system. So to completely functionality in all sides. Now we discuss the architecture of the embedded system. Processor is the main part of the embedded system and they are connected with memory, which of the two types, RAM and ROM, where RAM is used for the data and ROM is used for the program. Next, FGPA or ASIC, field programmable gate arrays are application-specific integrated circuit. The circuits which are designed to run a particular task are connected with the processor. Then human interface, which are directly connected with the environment. Then sensors, which collects the analog data, convert it to digital form, which are done by the analog to digital converters. And we get the input from the sensors to perform the output on the actuators, which are connected with the electromechanical backup and safety, and then which require digital to analog converters to perform the output. Next, the diagnostic port, which is an output port and where all others are the input and output ports. And diagnostic port check the all components are working correctly or not. And processor is also connected to the auxiliary system in case of any power failure. So these are the main parts of the embedded system. Now we'll discuss about the characteristics of the embedded operating system. An embedded operating system performs real-time operations, means any systems which work based on the clock. And there are two types of real-time systems. One is hard real-time systems and soft real-time systems. Hard real-time systems which are time-oriented, which finishes the work within a given time, and soft RTSs which time doesn't matter. Next, the reactive operations means they do operations based on the events. Configurability means they can be upgradable. IO device flexibility means can connect any number of input and output devices. Streamlined protection mechanism. Streamlined means they do mostly necessary tasks. If they are multitask, then they left them. Direct use of interrupts means they support the direct interrupts coming from the hardware and the software which are connected to the operating system. Now we discuss about the and developing an embedded operating system. There are two general approaches for it. One is by taking an existing operating system and making it adapt to for the embedded applications. And second one is to design and implement an operating system which are intended completely to for the embedded use only. First, we discuss about the adapting an existing OS. An existing commercial operating system can be used for an embedded system by adding the sum of the features, which are real-time capability, streamlining operations, means which will do the necessary task, and adding the all necessary functions rather than real-time capability and streamlining operations. So now the advantage of the adapting an existing operating system is a familiar interface. As we are already using the existing operating system, it is easy to use. And the disadvantage of it is the existing operating system will not be completely optimized for the real-time and embedded applications. Next, we will discuss about the purpose-built embedded operating system. The typical characteristics included are is a fast and lightweight process, means they consume less memory, also called thread switch, and scheduling policies is real time, means for allocating CPU resources to concurrent tasks deployed on processor, and having dispatcher module to transmit and receive the information from the origin to the destination, which should be a part of the scheduler, and it should be a small size and should respond to all external interrupts quickly, means the example the hardware interrupts, and it minimizes intervals during the interrupts are disabled, and provide fixed and variable size partition for the memory management, and provide special sequential files which will collect the data at faster rate. The common examples for purpose-built embedded operating system are ECOS and Tanius, which will be discussed later. Now we will discuss about the timing constraints. To deal with the timing constraints, the kernel, which is act as a mediator between the software and hardware, provides the bounded execution time, means a fixed execution time for the processes or primitives, and maintains a real clock time, and it provides special alarm and timeouts to complete the work within a time, and support real-time queuing disciples, means manages a FIFO queue, and provides primitives to for delay processing by a fixed amount of time. If any delay is there for doing a process, it keep a fixed amount of time, then resume the execution of it. Now we will discuss about the embedded Linux. A separate version of a Linux which is used in the embedded system is called as embedded Linux. The embedded device typically requires for a specific set of devices, peripherals, and protocols, depending on the hardware that is present in the given device and the intent purpose of the device. So, an embedded Linux distribution will be a version of Linux which will be customized on the basis of the size and hardware constraints of the embedded device. And now we'll discuss about the cross compiler and how it is different from the normal compiler. It is a key differentiator between a desktop server and an embedded Linux distribution. The difference is that a normal compiler which compile and it will execute on the same platform, but whereas a cross compiler is different, which will be used in the embedded Linux distributions, which they will be compiled in one platform, but they are intended to use in the another platform. So these software used for the embedded Linux distribution purposes is referred to a cross compiler. Now we'll discuss the embedded Linux file system. The condition should be the file system must be as small as possible. The commonly used examples are CRAM-FS, where CRAM is the file name and FS is the file system. So CRAM file system. So it is a simple read-only file system that is designed to minimize size by maximizing the efficient use of underlying storage, and, and files are compressed in units that match the Linux-based size. Next is Squash file system, a compressed read-only file system that was designed for use on low memory or limited storage size environment. Next, JF file system 2, a log-based file system that is designed for use on NOR and NAND flash devices with special attention to flash-oriented issues such as wear leveling. And UBI file system. It provides a better performance on larger flash devices and also support write caching to provide additional performance improvements. And next, YAFF file system 2 provides a fast and robust file system for the large flash devices. Now we will discuss about the advantages of the embedded Linux. The advantages of the embedded Linux are vendor independence. The platform provider is not dependent on particular vendor to provide the needed features, meet deadline for deployment, and next, varied hardware support. Like Linux support for a wide range of processor architecture and peripheral devices make it suitable for virtually any embedded devices. Low cost. The use of the Linux minimizes cost of the deployment and training. Open source. The use of the Linux provides all advantages of the operating open source softwares. Example, security, flexibility, etc. Next, we will discuss about the Android. Is an embedded Linux operating system. The focus of Android lies in a vertical integration of Linux kernel and the Android user space components. As many embedded Linux developers do not consider Android to be an instance of the embedded Linux, since it because uh, from the point of view of these developers, a classic embedded device must has a fixed function and frozen to the factory. But this is the not case of the scenario. It has many functions. And an Android is an embedded OS of the Linux kernel, and it has a more of a platform operating system. It can support variety of applications from one platform to the another. So it also have entered some specific modifications to the Linux kernel. And now we will discuss about the features of the Android. So these are the mostly known topic. So it is a OS for mobile devices and mostly used in smart devices. And like Google's own, it used by the Google's own Google Pixel, HTC Samsung, tablets of Motorola Zoom, and Amazon Kindle. And it supports multitasking in 2D and 3D graphics. And the current stable version is the Android 11, which is released on September 8, 2020. And Android 10 is the currently most popular Android version. And next we will discuss about the Android version numbers and names. So these are the some of the versions from the starting to end and their code names, which are given example like Lollipop, Marshmallow for 6.0 and 5.0 respectively. And now we will discuss about the Teeny OS. So it is a streamlined to very minimal operating system for embedded system, and it requires only 400 bytes of code and data memory combined, means RAM plus ROM, and does not have not a real-time operating system it is. And there is no kernel, no process, and OS does not have a memory location. And interrupts and exception handling completely dependent on the peripherals which are connected to the tiny OS. And it is completely non-blocking. So there are only few explicit synchronization primitives. And TinyOS has a popular approach to implementing wireless sensor network software. Now we will discuss about the structure of the tiny operating system. In tiny operating system, the main entity is the main block, which is a scheduler, which schedules all tasks, which is in the upper layer entity, yeah, upper level entity. After that, the next level entity is the application, which runs on the OS, which indeed dependent on three things of the lower level entities, which are actuating, sensing, and communication. They are important entities in the structure of the operating system, which it is built. Actuating, this is the output signal which will be performed like LED, LCD, motors, etc. And sensing, the important signal which will be getting from the environmental conditions like temperature sensor, pressure sensor, humidity sensors. And these all depends on the way we use the operating system, the wireless network topology. In the third, communication, we do serial or parallel or wired or non-wired depending on the type of communication we use. And at the lower level entity is the hardware abstraction. In hardware abstraction, ADC, DAC, analog to digital converter, and digital to analog converter are the main components of the hardware requirement to convert the signals from the sensors and performing on the actuators. And the clock for the real-time working, and the I2C means the intra-integrated communications, and LEDs photos for the output, and UART for the communication purposes. Now we discuss about a sensor network topology where the host PC is connected with the internet and base station with a wired network, and from the base stations all the sensors and relay are connected with a wireless link. Now we discuss about the TinyOS goals. With the Tiny distribution sensors application in mind, the following goals were set for the Tiny operating system. It allows high concurrency, means high concurrency rate is there. It operates with a limited resource, means with a limited memory. It adapt in hardware evolution, means upgradation is of hardware is possible easily, and support a wide range of applications in the wireless network, and support a diverse set of platforms, and means it supports a different platforms and be robust. And now we discuss about the TinyOS components. So embedded software system built with Tiny operating system consists a set of modules which are called components, each of which performs a simple task and which interface with each other and with hardware in limited and well-defined ways. The only other software module is the scheduler. And since there is no kernel, so there is a new actual operating system. So the examples of the standardized components which will components include are single hop networking, ad hoc networking, power management, timers, and non-volatile storage control. TinyOS components, which the related tasks are the software components implements one or more tasks. Each task in a component is similar to a thread in an ordinary operating system. So within a component, tasks are atomic. Atomic means one task is started and it runs till the completion of it. So a task can be preempted by another task in the same component, and there is a no time slicing. And it cannot block or spin wait, means another task cannot be kept means the task of another task cannot be interfered the current runningly task. A task can is the perform computation and call lower level components commands and signal higher level events and schedule another task with the lower level of the tasks. Now we'll discuss the tenuous component commands. A command is a non-blocking request. It means a task that issue a command does not block or spin or wait for the reply from the lower level component. It typically requires the lower level components to perform some services. The effect on the component that receives the command is specific to the command given, and task is required to satisfy the command. Means the any component whichever gives the command to the lower level, they done the they done the task to that specific purpose only. And command cannot preempt the current running task. Means any command cannot uh, interrupt any currently running task. It has to wait until it's completed. And a command does not cause a preemption in the call is command. So does not cause blocking in the calling also command. And the teeny OS component events. Events in the teeny OS may be tied to the either directly or indirectly with the hardware event. A lowest level software component interfaces directly to the hardware interrupts, maybe external interrupts, timer events, or counter events. An event handler is the lowest level component, which may, at the lowest level, the interrupts might be itself or may propagate event message up through the component hierarchy. A command can post a task that will signal an event in the future. Now we'll discuss about the TinyOS scheduler, which operates across all the components. One task will be executed at a one time. The scheduler is a separate component. Means it is the one portion of the tiny OS that must be present in any system. And the default scheduler use the FIFO queue technique for the scheduling purpose. And scheduler is a power away. Means the processor sleep when there is no task in the queue or keep power saving mode if required. Tiny operating system resource interface. It provides a set of conventions for dealing with the resources. It is dedicated. Means a resource that a subsystem needs to exclusive access to all times. No sharing policy is needed. Examples including interrupts and counter. It is virtualized. Every client of a virtualized resource interacts with it as if was a dedicated resource. An example is a clock or timer. It is shared abstraction that provides access to dedicated resource through a arbiter component. Arbiter component determines which client has to access the resource at which time. And finally, I would like to conclude that you learned about all the fundamentals of embedded operating system with examples.